And before we go ahead, the delegate of Taiwan has something to say to the whole delegation of the WHA. So can the delegate of Taiwan please proceed to the front?
Honorable Organizing Committee, distinguished guests, and delegates of the Sheffield simulation. This is the delegate of Taiwan speaking. On behalf of the participants of Sheffield, it is indeed my honor to make a few remarks and express great gratitude to the Organizing Committee who made this invaluable effort of making this amazing event a reality. WHO simulation is a significant event not only because of its educational value to students, but also the demonstration of unhindered collaboration and equality between member nations, which has not been fully achieved in the actual WHO due to hampering political and economic issues. However, before we shift our concern to the reality of inequalities among member states, we might want to take a look at a case in which one country does not even have a member status, a country that may practically have comparable capacity to most OECD countries in terms of medical and international health contributions, yet it has been excluded from the international stage for so many decades prior. Fortunately enough, Sheffield has made enormous progress by including this country, Taiwan, as a member state. This delegate would like to hereby bring out this particular case of Taiwan to help explain what Sheffield may teach the world and official WHO. People who understand the situation of Taiwan may be wondering, how is Taiwan here? And you are correct. Taiwan is not a member of any of the UN-related international organizations yet. This is due to the fact that Taiwan has never officially claimed independence under its own name out of fear of China's military threat, as well as Taiwan's own politically constructed false belief regarding the nature of its sovereignty. However, it does not mean that Taiwan is not independent. Whatever the legal nuances about events that may or may not have formally resigned sovereignty, Taiwan and China split amid the Civil War in 1949. The nearly 70 years of functionally independent exercise of sovereignty is a fact of history that perhaps international organization needs to take into account. It is undeniable that Taiwan does have a problematic consensus, but this and the attitude of the external environment are actually mutually reinforcing. Taiwan would not have any confidence to officially declare its independent statehood if the international community does not signal friendliness. What we would like to appeal today is that the 7 decades of the de facto samurai rule of Taiwan deserves a formal representation like legal observer status in WHO. In fact, Taiwan used to be an observer between 2009 and 2016. It was a huge progress in terms of substantive participation in international health events as an entity. But the reasons why it became and why it was then kicked out are all purely political reasons. During that period, then Taiwan president made Taiwan join WHO using the derogatory name Chinese Taipei in favor of China, endorsing China's view that the island and the mainland are part of a single Chinese nation. However, as a new president was elected, with a shift in diplomatic stance and the fight to right his name, she dismissed impractical and unrealistic One China policy and the humiliating name. China then promptly responded with criticism and kicked Taiwan out of WHO through its political influence. We regret that WHO might have lost its independence to China's influence. WHO would rather obey one single country at the expense of health for all and global health security. Now, you might want to know what consequences Taiwan bore when it is excluded. Taiwan was left isolated in the fight against SARS in 2003. It was denied access to the World Health System of the pandemics. The Taiwanese government was then asked to report this issue only via China's channel. Here we see a clear example of how an epidemic outbreak in a small country can even be taken advantage for fulfilling others' political agendas. The detriment is beyond the failure of controlling disease per se, to the extent that a politically disadvantaged country may even face a challenge to its very own existence. The exclusion of Taiwan is not only unjustifiable, but also ignores the practical benefits Taiwan can bring if included in the WHO. Since 2006, over 100 Taiwanese mobile medical teams have been dispatched to more than 20 countries all over the world, benefiting over 150,000 people. And Taiwan runs over 50 programs to combat diseases such as AIDS, TB, malaria, avian flu, Ebola, MERS, and those we have been discussing in this event. The universal right to health does not include Taiwan, whom has nevertheless put this principle at the heart of its action internationally. If Taiwan was part of the international team, it could have been permitted to contribute more to the world. To sum up, the exclusion of Taiwan is political and unjustifiable. It could not only endanger its own 23 million citizens, but create a loophole in the global health security network that will risk lives across Asia and beyond. Taiwan will be honorable to share its significant medical breakthroughs with the world in the foremost institution. Based on these reasons, as a delegate of this simulation, I would like to invoke what little influence our voice would have upon WHO to highlight the firm stance on the inclusion of Taiwan as a member state or observer within this international policy-setting body. Taiwan deserves its right to substantive participation in WHO on a legal basis under its own name, Taiwan, and it deserves more attention from each of you. Thus, we would like to call for all participants to be mindful of this issue to affirm it to WHO. We long for your support in the name of health for all, for health knows no boundaries and with no political interest. The agenda regarding universal health should not be held hostage by certain actors' national political interest. So, based on what I have stated about, I was so fortunate to be granted the opportunity of representing Taiwan by the organizing committee. What Chef Hu has done is an enormous progress, as it allows the journey of representation of WHO's ideal pursuit, health for all. WHO can learn from Chef Hu in terms of how they truly implement the core values. It also reflects a practicality of a different prospect of international cooperation, which has yet to be seen on the occasion of WHO. I believe we all enjoy this event so much, and once we are back in our own fields, we will use the concept that we learned at Chef Hu to make the international health environment a better place for all human beings. Thank you for listening to the appeal of Taiwan. We hope you support us. And I finally thank the committee once again for making Taiwan a member state. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate of Taiwan, for that great speech. I'm happy that you all have taken this into note, and we will hope for an inclusion of all countries, despite where they're coming from or they are. And we hope that WHO will take this into consideration, that every country deserves a right to speak during the World Health Assembly and should be given equality despite their past.